fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind.
It was basically a cube with inside of a sphere where the points of the cube were touching outside of the sphere.
Roger. There's troubleshooting machines out here.
So this isn't anything that just is limited to the United States. It's a worldwide phenomenon.
That UFO podcast is powered by Zencastr. Zencastr is one of the world's leading platforms for recording and hosting podcasts. The open beta strives to put the power of studio-quality remote video production into the hands of anyone with a story to tell. Features include HD video recording, studio-quality sound, chat and footnotes. All running right from your browser so you can record from anywhere without ever installing anything. Check out the links in the show description to find out more. Hi everyone and welcome back to That UFO podcast. It's Andy flying solo for your February preview pod. January's gone and it was a big month to start the year. First off, you helped fundraise to get Dan out to Colombia, which he leaves for on Monday the 7th of February to help film a new documentary series, Phenomenology. It's a life-changing experience for Dan and a huge thanks to all of you for making that happen. I also launched the Anomalous Podcast Network, which I'll fill you in on just a little bit later. Interviews for the podcast in January included Frank Milburn, Ashley Cowie, Dan and Vinnie Adams were guests as well, and there was the usual breakdown shows and the listener call-ins. I think what I was most proud of was the new profile series on Tom DeLonge. Part 1 launched looking at Tom's early journey into UFOs and finished as To the Stars is about to launch. That leads me to what is to come in February. John Ramirez Part 1 has already dropped. Thank you for all the comments and feedback already. Part 2 is available on the free feeds from Monday the 7th of February. Tim McMillan will be recording with me later this week. Still a chance to get over a couple of questions for Tim. It's always great to pick Tim's brain. Obviously co-founder and creator of The Debrief. Incredible investigative journalist, some amazing sources. The articles that he produced in the last year or two have been fantastic, and I'm looking forward to speaking to him particularly about anti-neutrinos and baiting UFOs, but also what's to come this year in terms of the UFO office and more. So email over ufouapam@gmail.com for any thoughts and questions for Tim. Professor Simon Holland, who you will find on YouTube creating videos on science and history, is coming to discuss UFOs in a few weeks' time. He was a popular name amongst guest suggestions, and I do listen, I promise, when you send me those over, so feel free to get in touch early with questions for the Professor. I suggest checking out some of his YouTube content, just search Professor Simon Holland. I should also be hosting Kevin Randall later in the month to discuss his new book Leveland on the UFO event out there in Texas from the late 50s. I'm just arranging a time with Kevin and a final date, and I will confirm that soon. We'll also be uploading a bit of Dan's diary while he is in Colombia for people to keep on top of his travels. While he's out there, we'll also record a catch-up interview as well. Listener call-in slots will open up in mid-February. I've had a lot of people asking about those. The best thing to do is please email me to ufouapam@gmail.com and I'll send you those out, especially if you're not on social media. It would be great to hear from you. I'll fit these in around my returning to the office to work, as I've been working from home for some time now, like many people, which I won't lie has been a huge help in making the podcast, but I've got my iPad to work with on the go, so I'm only going to be in the office a few days a week, but between travel and everything, I'll still be working hard, don't worry about that. As far as guests go, there is one who hasn't been on the podcast before. He is a name who is very prominent, especially right now. He's only done a handful of interviews, but he has agreed to come on the podcast in a couple of months' time, probably nearer April or May. I'm going to hold off to announce it, but you'll be excited. It's a really great guest, a great get, and I'm very much looking forward to speaking to this person. So I'll hold off for now, but I promise you, there's a few names I am working on to get on the podcast that don't do many interviews, so excited for that one. As well as that, Tom DeLonge, part 1.5, is going to be recorded and released this week. That will be listeners' thoughts and questions from part 1. Part 2, hopefully, should also be recorded this week as well for a release in the next week or two. That is going to cover To the Stars Academy's launch and its first few years, like the Unidentified show and a few things that happened in and around that time as well. I'm already underway researching and putting that together. There is a lot to cover, so I'm really looking forward to part 2 and releasing that. That does lead me to say, these interviews and shows are always available, early access and ad-free on our subscription services. I take the preview pod as a chance to say this, but your support, you listening just now, yep, I'm talking in your ears, makes the world of difference to me making this pod, and I really do sincerely mean that. As I record this, it's the last time on this system, as I've managed to get a few upgrades to help me run the PC I've got, which I promise you was as basic can be. People probably know by now I record this pretty much in a shed. There's no fancy studio here, and I generally look to continue to improve the podcast quality in any way I can. Your Patreon pledges, Apple subscriptions, Spotify subscriptions, Buy Me a Coffees have all been immeasurable in helping me keep this going. And I've said this before, this year, maybe there's a chance that I could do this full time and produce the content I really want to with that extra time. That's a dream, but one, because of people like you, that it is not too far off. And if you pledge and you can, that's fantastic. Check out the link tree in the description below. It's linktr.ee/UFO UAPAM, and that's got the links to Patreon, Apple Premium, Spotify Premium, and every little really does make a difference in helping me do this, and one day maybe getting away from the 9 to 5 job, which I know is a dream for so many people, but maybe it's a chance I could do that this year, which would be incredible. So yeah, thank you for supporting, listening, sharing, talking about this podcast on social media, on Reddit. Thank you to all those who jump on Reddit and post about the podcast. That makes a massive difference, so any help is massively appreciated like that. Speaking of supporting the pod, here is a quick message from one of our sponsors. Roses are red, violets are blue, make sure your Tic Tacs are shiny and new. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and our sponsors at Manscaped are here for you with the best tools to get your orbs and crops ready for the special occasion. This Valentine's Day, it's time to join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. With our exclusive offer, go to manscaped.com and use promo code ANDYUFO for 20% off and free shipping. The holidays went by so quickly. Did you remember to take care of your package with the best tools for the job? The Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped is just the thing every guy needs in their life to make each and every day a little bit more special. The number one product in this package, as always, is the Lawnmower 4.0. This electric safe trimmer is designed to trim hair on loose skin, and get this, the trimmer's advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate orbs. It even has a 4000K LED spotlight that would put the Phoenix lights to shame. Did I mention it's waterproof too? Transmedium travel is no problem for this secret tech. The package also includes the Weed Whacker, and 2 free gifts are thrown in as well. Their shed travel bag and anti-chafing boxers to help keep your boys stored comfortably. Ideal for travelling to South America to film documentaries on the phenomena. Who knows? Anyway, folks, go to manscaped.com for our exclusive offer of 20% off and free shipping with the code ANDYUFO. Get something for yourself this Valentine's Day. Support Manscaped, support the podcast. Thank you very much. You'll also hopefully have heard by now about the Anomalous Podcast Network I launched a few weeks ago with shows by established podcasters Vinnie Adams of Disclosure Team and Priscilla Stone of Quantum Witch Cafe. They joined straight away, which was amazing they came on board. I was delighted to finally get the first proper episode from Graham Rendell and Dave Partridge uploaded, called the Unidentified Aerial Podcast, and their first episode proper covers several UFO events in a deep dive format from 1948. I genuinely feel in a market that is filled with content that can overlap at times, these two have put together a fresh, exciting podcast that brings new life to old cases and uncovers many forgotten experiences that are as relevant today as they ever were. Just search Anomalous Podcast Network and have a look at the great shows on offer. Dan's show will be kicking off when he gets back from his globetrotting in South America. Also, I really would appreciate if you leave the network a 5-star review on your chosen platform to help get it noticed and up the charts. The chart algorithms are a really funny thing, so that would really be appreciated. And that also includes for That UFO Podcast. If you still haven't left a 5-star review, please do so. It makes a massive difference, especially on Apple and Spotify. You can now do it as well. So click on there, 5-star review, much appreciated. That's pretty much all from me, folks. Thank you all for listening this year so far. Believe me when I say there are some huge announcements from myself just around the corner in terms of guests and some more stuff that I won't quite say yet. I am working very hard on some things in the background that hopefully gives back to the community in some way, shape or form. Make sure you check out those interviews that are up with John Ramirez. Make sure you check out the Anomalous Podcast Network. Share, like, subscribe, retweet, engage. Thank you again to everyone who's emailed UFOUAPAM@gmail.com. Love hearing from you. It's meant a lot, and waking up to those emails and DMs and YouTube comments that I'm getting just now, they're fantastic, and it makes your days and makes your weeks, so thank you so much. Also, show those podcasters some love that are on the Anomalous Podcast Network. Like, subscribe, follow their channels, follow their content, and if you can, support in any way, shape or form. Again, speak to you all very soon. That is all for this week's show. Thank you very much for listening. Please remember to leave the podcast a review on your chosen platform. You can like, retweet and subscribe. That would all be very much appreciated. The shows are being uploaded onto YouTube as we speak more and more. You can sign up at patreon.com/That UFO Podcast to access the shows ad-free as well. Please get in touch on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, That UFO Podcast. Of course, on Twitter, it's at UFOUAPAM. And again, folks, as always, keep looking up. You never know what you might see.
It wasn't a tic-tac and not quite a saucer, more like a hubcap designed by Chaucer, a little Baroque and quite steampunk, like Alice was playing bass for the Parliament of Folk. The little fucker hovered right outside of my window, and when I shoved out the screen, he made it an issue. I don't think he expected me to see his ass, but I'd had some champagne and smoked a little grass. Meditative game of Fateful on Meta. I can't imagine how it could have been any better. I got to the top of the stairs and there he was. Like, you awake? I was about to abduct you, cuz. I jumped back and nearly kissed myself, and I climbed out the window after the elf, and I woke up in my bed and there was something on my head and everything was weird and everything was red. And I called out to my boys. They thought this was noise. They thought it was a dream. They thought it was my toys. They thought it was my problems, and they think I should seek therapy, and I don't know what to do because it doesn't really scare me. If you really want to know who I think they be, I think it's you and me and us and we and him and her and that and she and that thing over there and what's that, Jake? If we're being serious, open your mind, consider your heart, consider time, consider your space, consider your lies, consider your life,